Welcome to the Performance Zone. My name is Dan Alexander, your host, and today I am joined by the wonderful Chris Hart. Um, Chris, are you a Christopher? Are you a Chris? What's your?
I'm only Christopher, like everyone, when I was in trouble with my mum as a child. In fact, when I was in real trouble, it was Christopher Michael Hart, the full first name, middle name, and surname. But to
That
everyone
sound
else,
You sound like one of the Hart brothers from the WWE.
I grew up in that, yeah. So I may not look it, obviously, but I am 43. I did grow up in the 80s. So yeah, the Hart brothers in WWE or WWF when I was a kid, I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no relation as far as I'm aware, or to Tony Hart from whatever it was, the thing that was on ITV as a
Oh,
kid.
Morse. Yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
definitely no relation to Morph. Well, I don't know, but
Are you really made of plasticine, mate?
I don't know. Maybe.
Tony's behind. Right. Okay. So
Yeah,
Chris, you're the founder of Arcade recruitment, training and rec to rec, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken. Yeah.
yes, I am. Yeah, coming up to, depending on when this goes out, I reckon I'm about 2 weeks away from it being a year. I think.
Really?
All right. I think, yeah, I need to check because obviously LinkedIn adds a month, right? So it says it's been a year already, but I haven't had the anniversary post come up. And I'm pretty sure it was a couple of weeks before my eldest's birthday. I know it's like the first 2 weeks of July. So it should be in a couple of weeks, it would be the 1 year anniversary of the training side of the business, which is the launch of Arcade.
Hey, that's awesome. I remember seeing it happen. And
Mm.
seeing you launch because we saying we know each other that well, but like we've known each other for a while, right? That's probably pretty fair.
Yeah, I would say that I would describe it as we kind of were doing the same sort of thing or in that same little circle back in, was it 2018 or whatever? And we kind of went back and forth a little bit, didn't we? A group of us. And then I think I kind of drifted out of it. And then all of a sudden, we're back talking to each other again. Not that we ever broke up or anything, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's that kind of, I think I just kind of left the scene for a little bit. Not that I was ever part of any scene, but yeah. So a good sort of 7 years, but with a big, massive gap in between. But we never actually met like face to face, but we talked, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see you face to face, mate, and
Yeah.
talk. Appreciate you coming on the show as well, mate. Um,
Thanks for having me.
like we're a few episodes deep in this now. We're recording this back in June, and probably I imagine this won't get released for a couple months. So currently the heat wave happening.
Yeah.
Um, Listen, I want to get you on, mate, because for me, I think it's interesting to reflect back on like someone that's been almost a year in their job in their company, right? What
Mm.
it's really like to be a founder, especially in the training scene as well. I think it's an interesting kind of space.
Yeah.
And also to talk about like the way things have changed as well, like the direction LinkedIn's moving, like some technology, things you're seeing in the marketplace, but also from that rec to rec kind of um, angle as well, right? Seeing kind of what you're seeing out there. So let's just back it up. Let's go right back to 2018, right?
Mm.
Recruiter Index,
The recruiter index. Yeah.
legendary status.
Well, I really appreciate that. I still get follows of that page now, you know. I
Yeah.
still get almost, it wasn't that long ago. I think I put a post up about it actually. Um, on almost a weekly basis recently, I was still getting one or two follows a week or some kind of notification about the recruiter index. And I haven't used that page in a few years now. But I did love the recruiter index. If anyone does remember it, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that I've got no idea what we're talking about. But yeah,
So
yeah,
for those of you that don't know what the Recruiter Index was or is,
yeah.
probably is more accurate.
Yeah.
How would you explain it? Like what was your?
So I was working full time. I'm not gonna. Well, anyone can obviously look to my LinkedIn profile and see where I was working at the time. I was full time. I was a techie recruiter, um, but I've always been very much. Training was always really important to me, even back then. Like even throughout my whole career, training's been really important to me about how it's done and all that kind of stuff. And when I was a kid, I'm going to ramble now, but when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a writer or something, right? And I never thought, well, I don't think anyone thinks, oh, I'm going to be a recruiter when I grow up. And I've always liked to think I'm quite creative, and I need variety in my life. I get bored very easily. It might be the ADHD in me, I don't know. So I decided that, and I had the idea for a while that I wanted to do something to kind of have that some kind of creative outlet. So I decided to come up with what I suppose it was called a blog, right? And I think I even put on the website homepage that I hate using the term blog, but it was a blog. And basically what it was a blog that had initially essentially my advice, my training advice over a number of different subjects in article form on the blog, on the website. And then it got to a point where I had people asking to write for it. So I eventually became almost like a curator for my own website. I stopped writing for it. It took off really well, like way more than I expected it to. So I ended up having quite a few people queued up, like supplying articles and their own advice. And that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be like a community. If anyone's not, obviously, this is a podcast, I'm doing the rabbit ears. The sarcastic rabbit ears. The community. I wanted it to be a community. I didn't want it to just be my ramblings and me dumping my voice like I'm preaching, like I know better than everyone else. I wanted other people to have like this platform to kind of put their own voice out there, right? I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it'd get anywhere, but it got to a point where I had to make a decision whether I did something with it full time and tried to monetize it, or I focused on my day job, because it was getting to that point where it was taking up a lot of time. My employers at the time, as much as I loved them, were a little bit not keen on the idea of me having this blog. And I didn't tell them about it when I was going to do it. I just launched it, right? I remember I got the post ready, and I clicked send, and I clicked an email to email all the company, and I sent a link out, and I disappeared, went out to lunch or something. And I remember coming back and we're kind of looking up and all that kind of stuff.
You
But it
feel like
ran for
Jeremy
about
Maguire at that point.
ah, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I felt I was really self-conscious. It's the first time I thought I kind of put myself out there. I never used LinkedIn at that point as the way people use, like we use it now. I was really self-conscious about it. I really thought people were going to take the mick out of me and all that kind of stuff. And you know, as a grown adult, you shouldn't worry about that stuff, but people do. But luckily, it did. It did quite well, and I did get the mick taken out of me by people at work. But everyone outside the company, I had such positive feedback on it, and it was turning into this thing. It became, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything, but it was turning into this thing that was bigger than I thought it was going to be. And it did get to that point where I'm like, I've either got to turn this into a business, or I've got to focus on my day job. And I've got 3 kids now. I don't know how many I had then. 1, maybe 2. I can't remember. And I was like, I've got a mortgage, I've got a kid. I need to do the sensible thing. And I kind of just knocked it on the head. And in hindsight, I'm sure we'll talk about it, or Hishem, because he was doing his thing at the same time. Maybe I should have stuck with it. But I took the sensible, boring route at the time and focused on my day job rather than focus on the crew index. But the fact that you called it legendary status, I will take that as a massive win, because that means a lot.
I mean, it's niche, right? But for those of you that knew it, like it was like that
Yeah.
was that was an era of LinkedIn where you were seeing a a change in the way people are doing things, and that kind of that anxiety or feeling that you get when you when you start putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think they I don't know if they call it FOPO, but I'm gonna call it FOPO. Yeah, fear of posting out. Um,
I like that. I'm going to nick that.
you yeah, it's yours, buddy. That's
I'm
my
going to nick it and take full credit for it.
gift for you, mate.
Yeah.
um, but you post out, right? I remember in the early days posting out and having this anxiety, and I'd actually have to close my LinkedIn down and just walk away from it because
Yeah.
I got really anxious about posting like on LinkedIn in the early days.
Yeah. To be honest, like, my memory's not the best. So I didn't really use LinkedIn that often. Like I had a profile. I started using LinkedIn when I first started recruitment. So back in what, I don't know, 2007 or something, right? So I've been on it for years, but mainly like finding candidates, do what everyone does, post a job, right? that kind of stuff. And I don't really remember. I'm sure there were people doing it, and I'm not saying and this is not what I'm getting at. I'm not saying like I was like any kind of innovator or anything, but I didn't use LinkedIn, right? And I just knew I needed some kind of creative outlet, whether it's because I was going through some stuff at the time or what, I don't know, but I needed something. So I thought, I'll try and build up an audience. And it just so happened that I think it was by pure coincidence, it was at the same time that other people started to do this thing, right? Like with Hishem and
Mm.
yourself and other people. And it was like, but yeah, that anxiety of like almost like, who does he think he is? Like, why does he think he's got this voice? Like, I sit next to him, I know exactly what he's like. Who does he think he is? Like, kind of thing. And it was a little bit like that, and I was almost dreading it. But I planned it for a good 2 or 3 months, and I had everything ready to go. And I did, like I said, I didn't tell anyone at work. I knew they'd get a bit funny about it, and I just hit the send button on LinkedIn, sent a link to everyone in the office, disappeared to the toilet for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was, came back all sheepish, everyone kind of whispering and looking. And there it was. And then and it just kind of went from there. But yeah, the whole anxiety. And even then, I used to post I think it was every 2 weeks. I tried to put something out, I think, from memory. But even for the good first few months, I was getting followers on a regular basis, not like hundreds of thousands, but I was happy with the amount that I was getting. I think it was almost like 100 a month for the first couple of months or so. I can't remember now, but I was happy with it. But even at that point, 2 or 3 months in, I was still getting nervous about posting, thinking like, again, people thinking, what's he talking about? Like, who does he think he is, kind of thing? Like, is he think he's some kind of LinkedIn influencer or whatever? You know?
What was your first article about? What was
Oh,
the
I can't remember. The website's down as well. I can't remember. I gave them all to. He's going to hate me if he's listening to this. I've forgotten his name. Oh, I gave because I had a partnership with Adam Dennison. That's
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And his business, and he put some on his website, and he took a load of them off me to start off with. He might still have them. I can't remember what the first one was about. What I did was I wanted enough when I launched it. I didn't want it to just be one article. I think I'd written like 15 and had 8 on there
Mm,
launched.
mm.
So it wasn't like I just did one at a time. I think I launched the website with like 8 on there, and then had like a bunch in my pocket for the next
That's the way to
month,
do it.
2 months, right? So I didn't have to worry them writing about anything for the next 2 months. But I can't remember. If I just posted. It would have been something about KPIs. I would have thought at the time. I know that's what I was ranting about at that speaking gig we were talking about before we hit record. It was probably about KPIs or something like that. I would have thought. Yeah.
It's definitely the way to do it. And that's the reason why this this won't be released for a while, right? Because anyone thinking about launching a podcast, there's definitely a way to do it, or launching anything really. But if you launch one article, one episode, and there's nothing else for people to consume, then like it's like the Netflix effect, right? Whenever you watch a new series, you've got the whole series to watch. So you want to make sure that you've got a bank built, and then you don't have to worry about the pressure of then delivering to like a certain amount of
Hmm.
people that are like now starving for your content. That was actually the first. Do you know what? That's the first time we met because I think I actually approached you. I said like I've got a good article, um,
Hmm.
and um, I've won. Do you know what? Funny enough, full circle. I've recently won business off of that article I did with you back in 2018. Recently.
I was about to say, can you remember what it was? Well, clearly you can because I can't.
Yeah, it was. So I've actually I've never eclipsed that piece of work, right? I've put everything into that work. I've gotten it's on my LinkedIn. There's a video, and I've actually just basically made it into a video. I've sort of talked about it, that particular article, and it was the good, the bad, the ugly was what you phrased it, and it was about how your identity defines you, not like your training, basically. Which is a weird thing for a trainer to say to somebody. And one of the guys that saw it was a guy called Richard Malplay. He's a guy in Thailand. And he shared it, and at the time I was the director of training for CD, and they asked me to do to do some paid work. So I can't do it paid because I'm full time, but I'll come and do a thing for you. And I did I think a 3 hour slot at their first Asian like academy, alongside some really heavy hitters in the industry like now. Um, and more recently, I reconnected with Richard again, and I've done a bit of business with him. So that was off the back of, yeah, had you not done the recruiter index,
There we go.
would there be,
See?
would this conversation be happening?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, it was just I really enjoyed it. And I had actually, you just reminded me, I had a similar thing. It was a woman, a Romanian medical recruitment company, and they're massive now. I just saw they had a massive advertising campaign in Times Square in New York, up on the big billboards, everything. She approached me, like they just started up. Her and her brother started it. And she's like, I follow your stuff. Could you come over to Romania for 2 days and do some training for us? And I was like, I'm employed. I'm not too sure if I can. And I asked my boss, I was like, look, I'm not turning this into a job or anything, but for my own sanity, would you allow me a couple of days off to go to Romania and do this thing for a couple of days? Because I didn't see anything else other than that. And they
Mm.
were like, no, we don't want you doing that. And that was kind of the turning point for me. I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, this is obviously, and I had no intention. Like I was like shitting myself. Like I don't know what I would have done if she would have said, if he would have said yeah, because I was like, okay, I've got to write some training material now. I've never done that before. Like not properly. I've always done it internally, but not like that. But yeah, that was kind of a similar thing. So I couldn't do it, and I was gutted. And she came over as well. She came and met me. She flew over to England, like, and we had a chat, a 45-minute chat in a coffee shop around the corner and everything. And she was adamant that she wanted me to come over and train her stuff. And I just couldn't do it. And then I saw recently they've just done some massive piece of investment out in the States and had all this big advertising up on Times Square and stuff. And I was like, well, at least I know they were a proper business, right? Not some random. I mean, so, but yeah, it's a long time ago, though, man. It feels like a lifetime ago.
It is, but you don't ever realize. I was just sitting there reflecting on that, just as you're talking, and it's just like, I guess soaking up the fact that um it's the butterfly effect, right? All these tiny decisions that you make, like down the line, it's
Yeah,
you move an inch, 7 years ago, and you're miles away from where you would have been, and it's very
yeah,
interesting. I was just
yeah.
reflecting on because your brand, I'd say, is I think your brand's quite good, mate. Like you're very authentic in what you do. Like the truck, the branding. Is it the arcade boardroom? Is it been dubbed that?
Well, that I've nicked that for Jeremy.
Okay,
Jeremy
fair
Scott.
enough.
Yeah. He called it the arcade boardroom, and with his permission, I did say I'm going to steal it off of him. So yeah, that is the arcade boardroom at the
So
moment.
your brand's quite good. Do you? And I don't think it's a this or that question, but someone that I would say is really an expert in that sort of delivery piece, um, the talent attraction part,
Mm.
right? How much do you think LinkedIn, like, if you're starting, you don't even have to be from scratch, right? But you're a recruiter and
Mm.
you've never posted on LinkedIn. Like, how long do you think it's going to take you to build something where you actually get a return from it?
Um, in terms of like being like a recognized voice, like even just some traction or engagement on your posts, regardless of actual paying work, it's going to take longer than you think, right? Um, I would say I started what arcade, I was we're saying almost a year ago. Other than the first video that I put out, just saying, look, I'm launching a business, da 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 da, that got quite a bit of traction. That was in July. I would say I didn't really start getting any kind of proper return on my posts, my content, maybe because I was just rubbish and I was just finding my feet probably till like November, December.
Mm.
Like, it took a while, man. It took a while. Maybe a little bit. I'll have to go back through them, but I would say it took at least, yeah, July, August, September, 4 months to get any kind of, for me to feel like I was getting somewhere just with the content. Once the content kicked in, ironically, that's when the work started to kick in. Ironically, um, like at the mid, like as soon as the content started to get some traction, and then I launched the Rec to Rec side, which I'm sure we'll get into, but that was kind of almost like just meant to be a bit of moonlighting. I didn't do any BD. about 5 or 6 clients lined up in 2 days just because I put a post out saying I was going to do rec to rec, right?
Need a moment to catch your breath? Ready to go from good to unstoppable? At Bamboo Performance, our one-on-one coaching, exclusive live events, and dynamic online recruitment training platform help recruiters smash every target every time. Visit our website now and discover your highest potential. Let's get back to the show. Do you know what it is? I'm sure that it is worth it for recruiters in tandem, right, with
Yeah.
traditional things. But the difference between you and I doing it, I mean, training is one of those things where like you're not going to really, I don't think you're really going to cold call somebody up and say, hey, like, I want to train your people. It, I mean, it can work, and but it's one of those things where, if you want training, you're going to start to go out there and look for it, right? So as a vendor, it's a good idea to have a brand that you start putting
Yeah.
yourself out there, and people can sort of taste the product in some ways, get a feel for you, and I think there's a large part of it, like, one of the reasons why I'm always happy to collaborate with people is I believe that a rising tide raises all boats, right? So that if
Mm.
two people can kind of get their brand out there, and it might be someone that doesn't resonate with me, that is in my audience, that sees you and is like, he's the guy for me, and it's but for recruiters, especially people that are new into industry, I think the whole branding piece, I've got a real love-hate relationship with it. Like,
Mm.
I think it's definitely worth doing, but um don't do what I do because I'm really not a recruiter, right? So I think that probably the best thing to do, some of the best recruiters I've worked with have got like absolutely non-existent brands.
Yeah, it depends what you want out of it. Like if we're talking on the, I know your question wasn't just about the branding piece, but it depends. If you're starting out now or you're starting your own business as a recruiter, if you're a good recruiter, do you need to be posting content in the way that me and you do, like a personal branding point? No, you don't need to. You don't need to. If you're good at picking up the phone and winning business and getting in front of people, no, you don't. However, long term, if you're going to think big picture, long term stuff, like, even though that I'm new to running a business and I still have no idea what I'm doing, right? I knew from day one, and I remember saying this to my other half, I guarantee even day one, in the first 3 months, my business is going to look different. And I guarantee a year from now, my business is going to look different. And I guarantee 5 years from now, my business is going to look even more different. So whatever you think you're starting with now, I guarantee your business is going to look different in a year's time, 2 years' time, whatever. And maybe that's where the content and the branding piece will be needed. So do it anyway. Just do it, right? Have some kind of presence. But do you need to do it to make placements and be a recruiter? No, not really. Not technically, but I would advise that you do it because you don't know where you're going to be. Like we just said, that butterfly effect from 7 years ago. What's it going to lead to? So I would always recommend to do it. I'm a big believer in the personal branding stuff.
Is this the
Yeah.
part where we start talking about AI, Chris?
Talk about what?
AI.
But yeah, you can, yeah, we can do, yeah, we can. Yeah, yeah,
It is interesting, right? Because I think you're absolutely bang on. Now you very much set your business up initially with, like, obviously the first module that you put out as Arcade was heavily delivery focused, and you position yourself
yeah,
as that.
yeah.
What was your decision to position yourself as that person and that product?
So initially, the reason why I focus on the delivery stuff is because my time at Lorien, which I just left, right? So that's how the business started. I got made redundant, unfortunately. And my time at Lorien, I was a delivery director, so I ran a delivery team, and I ran and created our academy training programs, which were all delivery focused, right? So I had all the stuff ready to go. It was all my material, it was all my content, it was all my training. Everything in that program was mine. It was my IP. So I just had the stuff ready to go. That was it, really. All I had to do was kind of rebrand some of the PowerPoints and all that kind of stuff, and it
Mm,
was there. I
mm.
had, as we said earlier on, I had a bank of material ready to go that was unique to me and was it done in my voice. So I got full carte blanche when I was at Lorient to do everything I wanted in my way. I didn't have to follow any kind of company guidelines, nothing. It was my voice, my training. So I didn't have to change anything. So I had that academy program ready to go. And it was almost, because I'd done so many of them in the time that I was there, I could almost reel it off verbatim, right? Obviously with my personality and charm to make it not sound like I was reading from a script or anything or being a robot, but I had it all ready to go. So initially, yeah, the business was focused on the delivery side of things. And just to put it out there, I obviously do BD training as well. In fact, I just finished a major program on it. But yeah, the business did start out as a delivery piece, and that was the reason why.
Mm.
Because starting my own business, like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. The decision was made within 2 weeks. I was told I was being let go, and I had a 2 week head start. I wasn't given 4 weeks, I was given 2 weeks. And it's like, right, what am I going to do? I've got 3 kids, I've got a mortgage. What the hell am I going to do? And I was in a bit of a dark place. I didn't want to work for anyone else, but I didn't think I had the confidence to do my own thing. But even though I'd always wanted to. So I just thought, you know what? I am going to do my own thing. I made a last minute decision. That's when that video was literally recorded that morning. I had the name the day before. And I was like, right, to just make myself feel a bit more comfortable, let's just go with what I've got. Let's start with the delivery stuff because we've got that. It's ready to go. It's one less thing you've got to worry about. So that's why the business was initially positioned as doing the delivery academies or broken down into individual workshops because one, they worked really, really well, but I had the stuff there. It's ready to go.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Would you have taken where you are today a year ago?
Yeah, I hesitated there. Yes, I would. I would. Don't get me wrong. Again, I don't. I've got no. We haven't. Is in like we've not prepped this. I've got no idea what you're going to ask me, right? So I might be jumping ahead a little bit. There's been a lot of breakdowns and a lot of tears over the last year, right?
Mm.
100%. Like coming this close to thinking I can't do this, to all of a sudden going, oh my god, this is amazing. Like as it is with recruitment anyway, let alone running your own business. But if someone had said to me a year ago, look, you're going to launch your own business, you're going to be in this point, you're not going to be a millionaire, but you're going to be happy. You're going to be stressed, but you're going to be happy. It's going to be yours and it's going to look like it's working and it's got legs. Sign me up. I'll take that. Sign me up. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So, yeah, would I do a few things differently? Probably. But I would take where I
Yeah.
am right now.
But again, this is why I want to just hit record, right? Because I think I want this to be, and not just you, every single person. I want these to be real conversations, right?
Mm.
What would be the things that you'd do differently if you were
Um,
starting today again?
I think I was a bit naive. I think, again, I haven't spoken to many business owners, right? I spoke to a few. I probably didn't do as much research as I should have done. I was probably a bit naive going into it. Space when I was made redundant, I think I had 2.5, maybe 3 months worth of bills covered from the redundancy package, right? So it wasn't a lot. And I thought in my head, I've got these academy programs. I know how good they are. I've got a bit of personality. Be fine. I'll pick up some work easy, not just work. By the end of month 3, I'll have enough of a pipeline to know this is going to work. And I always said that my cut-off point was if I get to 2 months and I've got nothing lined up, I'm going to have to start looking for a job because it's going to take potentially a month to find a job, right? Lo and behold, I had a real, I had a real coming down to earth kind of first couple of months because it was like, why is no one buying from me? What am I doing wrong? And it took a while. I did pick up some work in the first 2, 3 months, and it's a great client and a really good piece of work. And it was again based off the delivery piece, but I still tailored it.
Mm.
But yeah, man, I did not pick up anywhere near as much stuff as I thought I would. I was booking meetings for fun at one point, and whether I couldn't sell my product, and I'm big enough and ugly enough, as my dad would say, to admit that, or maybe everyone was window shopping. But for the first couple of months, I was having meetings after meetings after meetings, and no one was buying.
Mm.
And that's where like I was getting like the breakdowns, the tears, the tantrums were kicking in. So what I would change is I would probably be less. I'd like to think I'd be less naive.
Mm.
I probably would have done a bit more research. But then again, I didn't have much of a timeline. I had 2 weeks to make a decision. I probably should have spoken to more people in terms of other business owners when I first started out. Like to get advice, I spoke to one or two and got some advice. I probably should have spoken to more. I probably should have defined who my ideal clients were from day one, which I didn't. I basically signed up to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, looked at every recruitment consultancy in London, and just hit send on a market impact that I put together
Mm.
and hope for the best. I probably should have been a bit more targeted. But then again, I'm not trying to make excuses for myself. I didn't have a lot of time. I had 2 weeks to make a decision of either going to go and find a job or do my own thing. So I literally had to start. I was building the business while running the business from day zero. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's you know what, I can empathize a lot, and because when the thing is with being um like a supplier to the industry is, especially as a trainer, you don't need that many clients, and you're booked, right? But
yeah,
the flip side of that is if if you lose one, you're losing like 20% of your revenue, um maybe more
yeah,
if you're not as busy. So like, the swings, the candles are bigger, right? And they say candles. I'm into gold at the moment, just like looking at the charts, trading 212. If anyone can tell me what the hell's going on, I'm open. I'm all ears. Um,
right.
so anyway, but the point is that the peaks and troughs, they're much um they're much more volatile, right? Whereas
Yeah,
if you've got 50 clients and you lose a couple, you're not really going to feel it. So it's really difficult at the beginning, but I would suggest like that one of those things is probably one of the best things that you've got on your side is that you have got a good brand and you haven't got that fear of posting out, and that you can put yourself out there and push yourself in a certain way that other people
yeah.
can't, you know.
That's the one thing I did do from day one. I wasn't worried about posting.
Yeah.
That anxiety about posting had gone. I think maybe initially for the first week or two because no one that I just finished working with at Lorient, other than one person, knew what I was going to do.
Mm.
Again, it was that initial thought of like I've got this post in my head that I'm always tempted to post, right? That I know the people who want me to fail, and I know the people who think I'm going to fail, right? And I'm not saying that any of those were at Lorient; it's previous companies. But again, I was worried about putting this thing out there, and the people I just finished working with going, "He's going to do that." But once I got over that, as you now know, I don't give a shit about what I post on LinkedIn or what people think of me. And I got over that really quickly because now, like, I kind of realize is like, but you don't work for them anymore. You don't
Mm.
even have to see them. Like you're either sat up here in your study, aka my kids' racing room, or I'm sat on the sofa downstairs. I've got no one to be responsible for other than myself and my family. I don't care anymore. So that's why very quickly I just started posting what I wanted, and it was just a hit and miss to start off with the content. But I got over the anxiety of posting very quickly. Yeah. Other than that, I would say that the first few months. The other thing I would change is if I could now give myself some advice from a year ago, I'd say go easier on yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up so much. Like, there were days where I was like screaming at top of voice, "You can't do this. You're useless." Da 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 da. And again, I've got ADHD and other things that I have to deal with, which doesn't help. And there's probably an element of that in there. But I definitely would give myself some advice so that just go a bit easier on yourself. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, you're not going to be loaded in a year's time, but you can pay your bills and you can give your family the kind of lifestyle that you was having. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So just chill out a little bit. It will be okay. And if not, there's people around you. You're going to build up a network that you probably could like that. If it worst comes to worst, I've already been offered jobs if I really wanted them. I mean, so there's other things to worry about, but yeah, that's the other thing I would change if I could is just go a bit easier on yourself.
Biggest risk is not. I think if you've got this desire in you, right, to do your own thing,
Yeah,
nothing's ever going to scratch that itch like doing it yourself. I mean, I had it before. Again, like, thinking, yeah, I want to do my own thing, want to be my own boss. I don't have to ask decisions around doing things like this sort of thing. If you were employed, oh, let me go and ask my director if he's happy with it, whatever. It's
yeah,
being able to paddle your own canoe, as Dualter put it to me. But yeah, definitely, it's it is uh, a journey that goes so quickly. I mean, I'm now I only realized this the other day, 4.5 years into my journey, right?
Right, okay.
Since and the longest I'd ever been employed by anyone was just under 4 years. So I'd done sort of 4 years moved, 4 years moved, like a few
Yeah.
times. Um, so I've now been my longest employer, which is
That's awesome, man.
mental to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's amazing. Like, and that's kind of like what, again, we might touch on it. Like what I said to you before, I think I said it before you hit record, is that I did the recruit index roughly the same sort of time as Hishem was doing his, was it the recruitment roller coaster podcast thing that he did? And obviously you were doing your thing, if I've got my timelines right. And I said to you before, and I said, just imagine if I was stuck where I'd be now, maybe, or where we would be now. And out of that scene, I think I was, like I said, I kind of disappeared off the scene and I kind of took the sensible, boring route. And I do wonder, where would I be now? And the fact that you're right, there is that itch, and it's a scary jump to make. And it's like, I'm still scared every single day, like about what I'm doing, but I love it. And I wish I'd have done it so much sooner. And the fact that anyone who's got thoughts of running their own business, do it for a start. And if you can, even if you only make it work for 5 minutes, you still fucking tried and you still did it. And the fact that you've done it for 4.5 years, man, that's amazing. Like if no one's told you like well done and to give yourself a pat on the back, pat yourself on the back. Like that's awesome. I can't imagine what this business is going to look like in 4.5 years. It may not even exist in 6 months for all I know. I don't know. You should do. You should do because there's money there, but you just don't know, right? You don't know what life is going to throw at you. So the fact you've done it for nearly 5 years, man, that's incredible.
Hey, I appreciate that. And you know what? Not that maybe my wife has, but yeah, I mean when you're the cleaner and you're the CEO at the same time, you don't have many people that you haven't got many people around you, and it's
Yeah,
one of the main reasons why I think a lot of small recruitment business owners fail is because they're successful in the job, but it's like having another job. It's not like having a company. It's you've got a job, but you've got no colleagues, and you're almost
yeah.
trapped and tied to that job because
Oh,
now you've got like HMRC and
oh
Backlash,
man, yeah.
rest of
It's like
it.
it's that thing where I see these. You must. I don't know if you see it like TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn. All these gurus, right? Someone called me an influencer recently, and I nearly threw up in my mouth. I hate right. But anyway, right? You see these posts, and these people talk about you don't want to be working in your business, you want to be running your business, or vice versa. I can't remember what the quote is, right? And that's the thing; it's so difficult, especially like I still think I'm in the early days, and you might still feel like this now, like 4.5 years in. Day to day, am I running my business or am I working my business? What am I doing today? Like, am I doing really basic stuff like putting some posts out, or am I talking to HMRC, or am I signing up a retainer with a client, or am I writing a BD strategy for a client, or what am I doing? Like, there's so many different things you've got to do, and no one tells you how to do it. You might get advice. Maybe this is why I didn't speak to our business owners, but it's all from their own perspective and what worked for them. Everyone's business is unique. That's the point, right? Your business is unique. That's what makes you work because
Mm.
you've got your USP. I've got my USP. I still haven't really figured out what my USP is, other than at the minute I'm riding the wave of the mullet and the moustache and the truck. That's all I'm fucking riding on at the moment, and it seems to be working, right? So I'll keep it forever. But no one really tells you how to do it, and you've got to figure it out from day one. And it is volatile. Like there was a couple of months ago where I had a couple of candidates on the Rec to Rec side fall out in rebate period. And I was like, what are we going to do?
Mm.
What are we going to do? So, yeah, it is volatile, but I still love it.
Need a moment to catch your breath? Ready to go from good to unstoppable? At Bamboo Performance, our one-on-one coaching, exclusive live events, and dynamic online recruitment training platform help recruiters smash every target every time. Visit our website now and discover your highest potential. Let's get back to the show. I think I think that is the product, right? It's the same as recruitment because like I've got a piece of training content I do, which is it's like basically it's all about the chef, right? There's nothing that separates two recruitment businesses really from one another. Like realistically, like
Hmm.
they're the same. Like no matter what somebody else says, that there's no bit of technology, a bit of process that you've got that
Yeah.
they couldn't adopt, right?
The clients hate this when I say this to them. I did this recently, my most recent client. And I said, no one gives a fuck who you are. No one cares that you're a specialist because your website says exactly the same as everyone else. And they kind of looked at me like, I was like, I don't care. No one cares. You all sound the same. So what are you going to do that's different? So I don't know what you was going to say. I just completely jumped in. But yeah,
Basically that.
yeah, yeah.
But the
So
only thing that does separate you is
it's the
I,
people.
I think there's two things, right? It's like I'm not a football person, but it's like a football team. You've got the same amount of players on the pitch, right? Okay, different stadium, different color jersey, whatever, different logo, different badge. But the only thing that really separate those two teams are the history, right? The trophies they
Mhm.
have on the wall, number one. Number two, the players they currently have on the pitch, the people that you currently have in the business.
Yeah,
That is the only two differentiating factors that like pretty much any recruitment business has got. Like, what's your track record? Like, can you do what you say you do? And what people are buying probably 80% of the time is the person they're talking to.
yeah,
And it's the same thing. Like, do these people like your flavor of food? Do they like you? And that's the bit where it's. I think if you can go in there and deliver that and to say like actually all of us are the same except for one thing, they can't have Chris Hart because I work for this company and this is what we do. Oh, by the way, this is track record and XYZ. Like that realistically is the only real differentiator, I think, in most businesses that are service based.
100%. I got the bunch of consultants I was working with recently to do an exercise and elevator pitches. And I was like, I don't want you to say I work for such and don't mention your company name. Don't say you're a specialist. Don't use any of those words. Give me an elevator pitch. And they like, I said, I want you to record it on LinkedIn Messenger because it only takes 60 seconds and send it to me. And they were like, and they struggled to get, I was like, sell you. What have you done? Don't say you specialize in such and such a market. What have you solved? What can you do? And it took them a while to get their heads around it. And once they'd done it, they were all really good.
Mm,
And I get all the, I'm going to blow me on trumpet now. Then I get the messages a few days later going, oh, Chris, I did that and it worked. I've got loads of meetings booked in now. I'm like, of course you have. Because now you're talking about you and what you've done rather than I work for such and such a company. Because you're right, the track record does count, but they were all relying on that alone. I was
mm,
like, but they don't, the hiring manager doesn't know that you can do that.
mm,
So what? If your company can do that, can you do that? And they're like, oh, okay. What else do I say? I was like, figure it out. What have you done? What can you solve? What have you prove it to me? And then when they started to put that together, they had something they can actually sell, and it worked. So yeah, USPs are important, branding's important, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I think I can't remember what your question was, but I think you jumped on the fact that I'm still figuring out what
mm.
my USP is. Like I'm good at training. I think I've got a unique style to it. I think everyone thinks that though. Anyway, I think maybe I've got a good way of coming across, and I'm a fairly
It's in your word, man. It's in your language, and like this is now me pitching you to the audience, right? It's the way that you've probably had it before where someone says like, oh well, what have you told them? I told them X, Y, Z, and they're, well, that's exactly what I'll tell them. It's like, yeah, but I articulate it in a way that you couldn't, right? I got them to understand and connect the dots in a way that you couldn't. You spoke to them, but they didn't hear what you were saying. They heard what I was saying, and my ability to communicate that message
mm,
and to drive a behavior in your people, right? That
yeah.
are not able to drive because the way I articulate that, and you've got your own way, your own examples, your own metaphors, a completely unique way of doing things because it's you and anyone that vibes with you, mate, like and hears what you're doing. And I think it takes a real one to see a real one. And I honestly, Chris, I'm not just saying this because we're on the podcast together or whatever. I think that you are probably one of the industry's gems, and I think that so many people can learn from you. I honestly believe that.
I really appreciate that, man. I did. Funny enough, I had a client say to me, literally the most recent client, and luckily I've just signed another retainer with them. She said to me, because one of the things you did in your training is like a 30, 60, 90 plan, like how to put one together. She goes, I've done that with them, but they never listened to me. But somehow when you've done it, they've taken it all on and used it. I was like, sorry. And she went, no, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's just what I'm paying you for. So you're right. You're right. I have got I know that I've got my own unique way of doing things. What I worry about sometimes, this is going to be more like a therapy session sort of thing. What I do worry about more sometimes is that I get a lot of people tell me that my content's good, not like loads, but I get enough people telling me my content's good and stuff, and that I'm genuine and all that kind of thing. I don't know if I am genuine. I'm not trying to be genuine. I just be myself, and if that means I'm genuine, then fair enough. But I do second guess myself sometimes. But I don't want to just be known for content. Do you know what I mean? Like I think sometimes people think that. Don't get me wrong, I'm doing all right. I've just signed up a decent retainer. I've got pipeline on the go. I've got multiple clients on the go and stuff. But I get the feeling sometimes think that I'm absolutely fucking killing it because my content's good. And it's like I think there's two sides to it. I think I get some half decent engagement and half decent traction, and that's all people see me for that. Other that, but I am also a trainer. I don't post content just to have a voice for the sake of it. I'm not one of those. I don't just want to be seen and heard
Mm.
for that. I do it because I wanna be one of the I want to have incoming business as well as going after it, right. I'm not lazy, but it's always been important to me that my whatever business I have, branding and marketing is important. And I've got no idea about branding and marketing. I make it up every day, but I don't just want to be known for that. So I appreciate it when people like you that have been recognized in this for a while that recognize the fact that what I say is a bit different and a bit unique and or I have a way of selling it. And we probably could go in and teach the same thing. And you would do it one way and I'd do it a different way. And some people take your way and some people take my way. And I'm fine with that.
Mm.
But I don't just want to be known for having a bit of quirky content. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if I'm putting myself down with that or not. I don't know. But
Not at all.
sometimes it feels like that, you know?
Joe, I think it's yeah, I wouldn't say so at all. I think, from your perspective, one of the things is, I mean, I went from, because in between those 4 years, 4.5 years, there's been a recruitment company in the middle of it for me, right? Whereas
Mm.
when it was hot, like it was really hot, and I jumped on it, right? Like everybody, um, like everybody, we were doing very well, and like within a year, we had 20 consultants working for us. But is an interesting transition from my perspective because I went from being the guy that was paid to come in and be that guy, right? The the cool uncle that people listen to, right?
Yeah.
Um, versus mum and dad they don't listen to being mum and dad, right? Giving my guys the same advice I was giving them when I was being paid X amount for, and they wouldn't listen to me. And I don't know what it is about having an outside person and not being the boss
Yeah.
where people will listen to you. There's
Yeah.
definitely an element of that involved for sure.
100%. I used that when I was employed. Like when I was back when I was a recruiter, it's not even that long ago. When I was hands on as a techie recruiter, even as a director, when I was hands on, if I had candidates in a process, and I think one of my strongest skills is I'm very good at tone of voice, picking up red flags in the way candidates say things. I'm really good at closing from that front. And even though I rate myself in that, and I really do, I would always value a second voice. So if I had a candidate that I thought was being a bit difficult to deal with, even if it was a junior member of staff, like in my team, if I trusted them, I'd get them to speak to the candidate.
Mm,
Because sometimes just a second voice makes all the difference. It
mm,
does. And you're right. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like even though this client of mine, she's the MD and she's done like a train the trainer thing, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh great. I'm gonna have to really impress now. Which luckily I think I did. She's like, yeah, the way you did it, it seems to have worked. I was like, you know what? Is this that little bit of validation, right? Even though I know that I can do what I do, having that little bit of validation from someone who else who does it and a client who's tried to do it themselves that are willing to pay me, it's not an obscene amount of money, but a half decent amount of money to do what I'm doing. It's that bit of validation, I suppose. But yeah, I still second guess myself a little bit, I think. But
mm.
yeah.
You mentioned about the carts, your son's cart room.
Yeah, so that's his PlayStation with his sim. But yeah, he races. He's a karter. He races. We literally got back from a national championship race yesterday over in the Cotswolds. So we was in Cirencester, almost a kart track called Rissington. It's like you're going onto this sea. It's an MOD base.
Wow. Okay.
It was random in the middle of absolute nowhere, and yeah, never driven there before. 60 kids, ended up finishing 5th overall, and it was live streamed on YouTube as well. We got interviewed just actually, funny enough. When I watched it back, it's really cringy. But yeah, he races karts, and annoyingly, he's very good at it. Which, well, I want to say annoying because it means it's expensive. Sometimes I'd rather whip that he would be rubbish because it'd be less stressful. But
Most
annoyingly,
expensive
genuinely.
part of it.
Well, we don't own a kart yet, so we haven't gone down that route. So the Club 100 Championship, the one we did yesterday, that they provide all the karts, but they're all even, so it is down to driver skill. That's 300 quid a race, and there's one of those every month. And then you've got his local track at Brentwood, which is a rental track. So again, they've got the karts, but it's open to the public. But it's also one of the best leagues in the country to learn at. It's very tough. So we're there every week for that. That's 650 quid every 3 months for a season there. So it's not like thousands and thousands at the minute, but it's enough. And it's more the stress. Like I said, if he was, sometimes I wish he would just be rubbish because it'd be so much easier. But the fact that he's like fighting at the front on live TV, he's on live YouTube yesterday fighting at the front. And it's just like the heartache that comes with it, the stress that comes with it. He puts himself under a lot of pressure, but he deals with it very well. It's hard. And he's only 12, it's kind of come out of nowhere. So, yeah, I love it. Like, we spend our lives talking about racing and karting. I'd talk about him every day if I could. Any
What's the
chance I
hope
get.
with it? Like, is it just a hobby, or is it like hopefully like Formula?
No, he will be being a realist. Like, for us to get into Formula One, which is obviously the ultimate dream for any racing driver kid, we'd need millions behind us. If he doesn't improve, really, he's still good enough to be a professional racing driver when he's an adult. He will be a professional racing driver. Just depends in which category we can get into. But there's different options, right? There's other professional series that he could do full time that are easier to get into and still pay him a fortune. But Formula One, you need millions. So that's where it comes down to hopefully eventually getting sponsored or picked up by some academy program or something. But like, even though he's 5th in the country at the minute in this national championship, there's still 4 kids technically ahead of him. Like, why would McLaren, for example, go with the 5th in the championship over the kid who's 1st in the championship? Yeah. It's really cutthroat. And the kid who's running 1st in the championship, he's beaten him multiple times, but it just so happens that he's sat 1st at the minute, and he is an exceptional talent, this other kid. So it's really, really, like, it's fine margins. It's incredibly competitive. It's hard for these kids, man. The level of talent they've got is unbelievable.
What's the difference in a winning karter versus someone that's going to be average?
Mindset is a lot of it. Natural ability, as harsh as it sounds. The reason why I'm not a football guy either, I like racing, and I don't know what I think it's about. I like the precision of it. Like, I could sit there and just watch qualifying like an onboard, even about the overtaking bit and how close they get to an apex and the tire wall, that kind of stuff. I love it. So you've got to have no fear, and you've got to be precise. And it's just that feel of it. Like, he can take a corner. He's got quite an aggressive driving style. He likes flinging it through a corner, like through a chicane, whereas other kids will take it a bit smoother. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's any quicker than them. But if they try to do it his way, they'd probably spin out. If he tries to do it their way, he'd probably slow down. So it's, I don't know, man. It's having this natural feel with the pedals and the car. It's having that no fear, willing to take a call. If you can take it flat out and it feels like the cart's going to spin out, you've got to take it flat out and just go for it. It's having that. The amount of kids that come to his local track to try to do it, and they just can't do it. They're like a second off the pace. They've been there for months, and they just can't do it. So unfortunately, you've got to have an element of natural talent, or understand where you're going wrong and be willing to just give yourself up to the cart, give your mindset up to the cart, and just do it and get rid of that. Oh, but I might crash. Who cares? You're going to crash.
Are you quite good?
I karted for the first time in my 30s, right? I've always liked Formula One. Out of the dads at the track, I've only done it a few times. I'm not there's dads that race, but
Mm,
I'm up there with the average dads. I think I've got the fastest time around the local track from the dads that don't do it. Maybe I should have done as a kid. I don't know. I'm very good at coaching him. Like he can do it, and we'll watch his on board footage and stuff. I'm really good at coaching him and talking through him like how to do an overtake better or how to take his lines better. Like if he's getting on the brake earlier or later or gas earlier, whatever it might be, and he listens to me.
mm,
I don't take any credit for like the stuff that he's achieved because he's got to do it. But I seem to have some kind of natural ability to be able to understand it and talk about it.
mm.
But no, maybe I should have done it as a kid. But then I grew up on a council estate in the 80s, so we had no money and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it didn't occur to me. Everyone was just wearing shell suits and playing football when I was a kid. I mean, so
I think maybe I'm too heavy, right? I'm pushing like 110 kilos now, and I'm not a tall man.
well,
But
in karting, they do it by weight class as well. So that there are in the adults, there are like he's weighted now. Like in the class that he's in, you've got to weigh, you've got to be a minimum racing weight of 50 kg. He only weighs 45 kg natural weight, so we've got to weight him up. But in the adults, yeah, they will. They do it by weight class. You get like heavyweights and super heavyweights and stuff. Not that I'm implying that,
we
obviously.
go to these like every now and again. All right, there's like a stag do or something, and there's casting involved, and
Yeah,
same like couple of people. They're always like so far ahead, but then you look at them and they've got like the frame of a bird, and they probably weigh as much as like some guys like 70 kilos, and
yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
I'm 150% of your weight, and
It will make a difference if they weighed up and put weights on their car, they wouldn't be as quick. No way.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
super interesting.
yeah.
You you also did like a speaking gig, right? Way back when.
Way back because of the recruit index. Yeah, so that got picked up. Yeah.
And what was the format of that? Like how did that work?
So Louise is going to hate me because I can't remember the name of the gig.
UK
What it
Recruit? That was it.
was it?
No, I don't know. I
I'm
also
sure.
you'll shame me too because I also did one.
Yeah, I can't remember it. It was in some pub in, I want to say Covent Garden one. Anyway, so there was about, I think it's about 4 or 5 of us doing a separate 5 minute speaking gig. And there was probably 100 or so, maybe slightly more in the audience. And what we had to do, it was a topic of our choice. We could choose whatever topic we wanted. And trust me, you could tell because everyone's topic was completely different from everyone else's. Like it was random, the amount of stuff that people talked about. I only remember mine and daughters. I can't remember what the other ones were talking about. But the format was that you had 5 minutes. You had to create like a PowerPoint presentation, and that it was like I said, it was almost like a test for us because basically you had to just press play, and it had to be like an automatic run PowerPoint. I'm probably not explaining this very well, and I had to basically write my speech so it worked in time with the PowerPoint playing live behind me. I wasn't clicking the buttons to the next slide; it just ran.
Is
Right?
it 15 slides over
I might have been. I can't remember. Was it amount
20,
of slides as
20,
well?
20 seconds a slide?
Same for that.
They automatically you
I,
couldn't.
I forgot about that. I
Yeah,
forgot about that bit.
yeah.
The amount of slides. Yeah, I just remember it being 5 minutes, and you had to talk about a topic. And yeah, the amount. Yeah, it rings a bell now. So yeah, you had what? Yeah, 20 seconds per slide or something, and it would just move on to the next one automatically. So you had to you had to memorize what you were saying, and you had to say it in time, and ideally land on the next slide as it were, as it landed. So that was hard, man. That for a first speaking gig, considering I've got, it may not, people are going to think I'm talking nonsense and they're not going to believe me. I've got chronic anxiety, partly to do with my BPD and ADHD and things like that. And I've got massive social anxiety. I don't really do social situations if I can avoid them, if I can. And I really put myself out there with that. I was absolutely dreading it, but I wanted to do it to kind of challenge myself. So for a first time doing a speaking gig and having to time it, like I said, I remember I spent a good month in my kitchen with my dining room door locked. No one was allowed in for like a month, just practicing this speech and recording it. And I remember watching back some of the videos and just catching myself swearing at myself, going, fuck's sake, running out of time and stuff. And I just couldn't get it right. Luckily, on the night, I did it. I'm pretty sure I got it almost bang on. But I remember turning around as I finished and the slide just, I was like, yeah, I got that. I think I nailed that.
Mm.
So But yeah, I like to push myself. I do. I wanted to make sure I wasn't looking like an idiot, and you could really have easily. I don't think anyone would have cared. No one would have cared because some people's speeches weren't smooth at all. No
Mm.
one gave a shit. No one cared, and no one was slagging them off or anything. But I would have done, and I really, really wanted to challenge myself, and I worked really hard at it. And it might not sound like a lot of work, but to get yourself timed for 5 minutes without missing a beat, and like you said, for 20 seconds a slide, it's hard, man. And you did one. So it was fun though. It was good.
And was Dalton was there at the time, wasn't he? I think.
Daughter was there. That's where I met Daughter for the first time. We might have been sat next to each other watching the others. I think we had a couple of beers with each other beforehand. It's a long time ago. And then I think he was up before me and he was doing a gig on, he was talking about virtual assistants or something because it was a fairly new thing. I don't know if he was selling them or what. I don't know what. Like he's gonna listen to think I'm slagging him off, but I'm not at all. Right? I
one thing,
just
one thing I'll say about Dalton, and I've known him for since that time as well, since we all yeah, since I think 2018. Um, he is always on the money. He's
yeah.
always
You
whatever.
seem to be ahead of something.
I think it's his like. I think he's got some superpowers as well, and he's definitely he can spot something when it's gonna impact it way before. I mean, like apart from Hish, the first proper like recruitment podcast, and the VA piece. He obviously read. I think it was a 4 hour work week by Tim Ferriss, right? And was one of the first people to adopt that kind of VA mentality. One of the
Mm.
first kind of proper recruitment digital nomads that's doing this kind of like work from anywhere type situation. Not many people were doing that back then, and um, I definitely think he's got an eye for something, right? And I think more
Mm.
recently banging on about the AI stuff, and I'm sure he's on the money with that as well. But yeah, definitely, I haven't met many people that have got sort of the eye that he has.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't a knock at all on what he was talking about because he did it really well. But it was just like everyone had a different subject that night, and like I said, they didn't tell us what to talk about. And all I meant was you could tell that everyone had freedom to pick what they wanted because all the subjects were so different from each other. So when he got up and started talking about virtual assistants, I don't think it was even recruitment related. That's my point. I was like, what's he going on about? But it made sense. And like I said, he knows what he's talking about. He's shit hot what he does. And I think we had a couple of beers with each other. We kind of just like, from what I remember, he's probably remember it differently. I think, when you go to one of these things and you know no one, I knew absolutely no one there, not a single person. And somehow, I think we just got talking over a couple of beers beforehand, like that night. I think we just kind of latched onto each other. He obviously had a lot more confidence than I did, and he probably knew a lot more people in the room. But I'm pretty sure we sat next to each other and we were drinking beers for the other speeches. Not that we were like drunk or anything, but I don't think anyone else was sitting there drinking a beer while we were. I don't know, but yeah, it was an interesting night, and we went out for a bit afterwards. But that was such a long time ago, man. Such a long time ago.
Do you look back on those days favorably?
I do, but with annoyance as well.
Mm.
Like I've said, I do a lot of mental health stuff, as you may know, part of on the arcade on the training side of things, and I I'm a big believer in the fact that I've let my anxieties over the years decide what I'm doing and dictate what I'm doing, and I'm sure everyone does, right? And I look back favorably on what I was doing at that time again because that speaking gig came about because of the recruiter index, and then I got asked to do that gig over in Romania because of the recruiter index. I met you and Hishem and I had some really great people writing for me, like big names at the time wanted to write for me, and I did nothing with it. Well, I didn't do what it could have done. I didn't see it out to its full potential. I didn't see myself out to my full potential. And I allowed my anxieties to control what I was doing for so many years. Because even back then, I wanted to do my own thing and I didn't back myself. Even though I knew during my 9 to 5, I was earning a lot of money and making a lot of placements, I could do what I was doing. So I do look back on those days with great, like with as good times. I just wish I would have done more with it and I hadn't disappeared from the scene. Because like I said, I look back, you look at people like yourself and Hishem now, again, no one's going to think they've made it, but you're there. Like your names, again, I don't need to be a name or anything like that, but you've got these things that are working, and I just think I'm 7 years behind, you know. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I do look at them back as a good thing, but I'm also annoyed and frustrated that I allowed my own stupid anxieties and the way that my brain likes to pick on me to take control for a long time.
Mm.
So
It's funny because I wouldn't say I think I'm there at all. I'm definitely
that's a good thing. You don't.
yeah,
You shouldn't think. You
yeah.
shouldn't think that. You shouldn't think that.
It's
But
definitely like, I mean, and even the name, because I went for a recent rebranding. I think that was probably because of you. I heard the name Arcade. I thought that's so much better than Chris Hart coaching.
yeah, because that's the thing. I didn't want to just be called Chris Hart coaching. I wanted it to be my brief to myself was just sorry to jump on. I'm going to jump on your bandwagon. You can carry on with your story. My brief to myself was it just needed to sound cool.
Mm.
That was it. I wanted it to sound cool. Didn't need to sound retro. I'm not even a gamer. And I can't even remember where it came from. Couldn't tell you. I was looking at so many different things. And I've got a big affinity for like anything Americana. As you know, I've got an old pickup truck and all that kind of stuff. And I was looking at random little redneck towns and all that kind of stuff, trying to think, can I find something that sounds cool? I was looking at the types of trees you get in the Appalachian Mountains in case any kind of word there kind of stood out. And I don't know if I was watching something. I was just like, arcade. And it was literally the Sunday night, and then I announced it on the Monday. It came out of nowhere.
Oh, it's
But I'm
weird.
so glad.
That.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I do love it. It's a cool brand.
It's good. I saw that when you launched it, and I thought, 'cause the thing about having your name as the brand, because I mean, for many years I still use the email domain, Dan Alley's on the coaching, but the thing is, it really is about you, right? And if you do have any aspirations to kind of build it into a business and not just have kind of be like I guess a freelancer subcontractor type
Mm.
arrangement, um, it can work with your name as the brand. But I always thought that as a recruitment kind of training company, they're always going to want like if your brand's called Dan Alley's on the coach, then they're always going to want like the top guy, right? Or the guy that owns
Mm.
the business. And so for me, I looked at thinking, well, how can I systemize what I'm doing? And I went with the name Bamboo Performance. I'm quite a keen gardener of all things. It's funny enough. And if you've ever sort of seen bamboo, but it's like once it gets somewhere, it's like incredibly difficult to remove, and it's really fast growing, and it's like you can't get rid of, which is what I think like a lot of recruiters should be, right? It's like pretty tough, persuasive, and
You could have called it Japanese knotweed as well. Then, as
yeah,
far bamboo's a lot catchier, though. Definitely sounds better.
yeah. But no, it's good, man. It's really good to reconnect. What are you seeing out there at the moment? Like what I mean, what would you say is if you were giving like advice or kind of insights or any sort of, I guess, actionable kind of thing or like the thing you want to leave the viewers with? What what would you say your message to the market would be?
For recruiters right now, if you're not doing business development, you need to start learning it or understanding it. I think the delivery train is not dead. There's definitely still companies out there that have got a delivery floor and things like that. But from my Rec to Rec side of the business, there's a lot of businesses now that would rather have a lean 10-person billing team than a bunch of people there just to kind of make up the numbers. But if you're a recruiter right now, I would say start learning something, right? Start. I don't think you necessarily need to have to be. You don't necessarily need to know like the nicheest point of a niche. You don't have to understand the pinpoint of something to that extent. But start learning something that you can understand to a conversational level that you can start talking about and have a voice in, right? Whether it's you're a techie recruiter, a legal recruiter, whatever it might be, rather than just, I survived on just understanding the buzzwords, right? I don't know what DevOps is really, but I know that if I'm looking for a DevOps engineer and they say they need a cloud experience, okay, AWS or Google, or they need to have infrastructure as code, okay, Ansible or whatever it might be. That's as far as my knowledge goes. If I was starting out now, I would take that to the next level a little bit. I'd want to understand it more than that, because I think now so many people say they specialize. Do you though?
Mm.
Just because you sit in the DevOps team at a recruitment company, are you a specialist DevOps recruiter? Can you talk about it? So if you're not doing BD and you're not going out and winning your own business, the next thing on top of that is start understanding your thing to a point where you can actually talk about it better than the everyone else in your area, in your market. At least sound like it rather than just regurgitating it or using ChatGPT to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Really good advice. Especially on the BD piece.
Yeah. And it's like, I do talk about a lot in my training, like why people fail at BD or why people think they fail at BD. And in my experience, is that usually what happens is, and I know we're probably coming to the end and I'm probably dragging it on, but in my experience, what happens is you get a big biller, they become a manager, they get given someone to train up from scratch, and they try and replicate themselves in that person as a stereotype. And the reason it doesn't work is because what they're trying to teach them doesn't suit them. Everyone could be good at BD, but you need to understand your style and what makes you good and what your style is. I'm not the old school. I could pick up the phone and I'm blunt and I'm straight to the point, but I'm not that pushy car salesman type BD person. I've got my own approach to it, and it works for me because I've figured out what my style is. But if I try to do it that way, I'm going to fail. And if someone else tries to do it my way that doesn't suit them, they're going to fail. And they could be the best BD person at the way they do things. So I think people need to figure out their own style, what makes them comfortable, what's going to give them the confidence, and then go from there. Because the reason why people fail is they don't feel comfortable and they don't have the confidence because they're probably trying to replicate someone else's way of doing it. Oh, they do it that way and that works, so I'll do it like that. It might work for them, it might not work for you. So figure out what works for you. And I think you need to go with your, I don't know, your brand, your vibe, your personality, your character traits. If you think you're funny, use your humor, wherever it might be, but then also understand what it is that you're talking about. If you say you're a specialist, I'm not saying you have to learn to code, for example, but better than, oh yeah, I recruit Java developers. What does that mean? Do a little bit more than that and use yourself. And you might actually be right at it. You might actually figure out you're actually pretty decent at it.
Mm.
So
Super interesting, mate. If you think you're funny, um, there's a lot of recruiters who think they're funny.
yeah.
So, mate, there's so many tangents that and threads that I wanted to pick up on, but just through time we haven't. I probably would like to invite you back for a part two. A to talk about your truck because that's super
Yeah.
interesting.
Mate,
Um,
I could do this all day. I'd come back anytime,
and
100%.
also the mental health piece as well. Like it's June. There's a lot of mental health noise out there at the moment, but you're one of the key people that talks about it year round. So, you know,
Mm,
I'm interested to talk to you about that as well.
cool.
But no, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
I
Uh,
wasn't in the best mood this morning, I'm not going to lie. And then this has really cheered me up.
oh,
So,
mate. Oh.
yeah. Yeah. I've really enjoyed this morning. It's been a while since I've done something like this. And the fact that you genuinely asked me, I'm not one to go asking for doing things like this.
Hmm.
And again, it's that little bit of validation that, someone wants to talk to me. So,
Well,
no,
mate,
genuinely.
you've also been kind enough to jump on Orca right now. By the time this is released, so Orca will also be, I imagine, public as well. So uh, for those of you that don't know, Orca is like an elite group of, call it that, recruitment training Avengers. We've got the best people in the industry all on the same platform, all pushing people that are very well respected and rated. Chris is on that platform. You can also find Chris Arcade Recruitment Training.com. Is that,
No, I don't have a website, Dan.
don't you?
No,
Fine.
no.
You can find
Just follow me on
you
LinkedIn.
can find Chris on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah.
And no, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. You've been Chris Hart. I've been Dan Alexander. This has been the Performance Zone, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers. Okay, guys, that is a wrap for this episode. Now it's time to take what you've learned and keep pushing forwards. Remember, Bamboo Performance is here to support you every step of the way, whether that's through our one-to-one coaching, exclusive live events, or our online training platform. If you're ready, visit our website, and until next time, stay unstoppable. This episode is proudly sponsored by Orca, the online recruitment coaching academy. Get access to live coaching, online courses, and playbooks from the industry's top coaches. Your entire organization can get access for less than the price of one email per day. Sign up today at trainwithorca.com.